Hi, welcome to my channel Cloud with Girish. In my previous video, I explained Amazon Bedrock intelligent prompt routing and how it selects the most suitable model based on the prompt. I demonstrated this feature using the Amazon Bedrock Playground. For example, when specifying the Anthropic model family ARN, Amazon Bedrock automatically routes the request to either Anthropic Haiku or Anthropic Sonnet depending on the prompt complexity. In this video, I will demonstrate the same feature programmatically using the AWS SDK for Python. I will invoke this functionality through AWS Lambda API Gateway and the Amazon Bedrock API. Please keep in consideration that this feature is not GA yet and in preview, allowing routing with Claude Sonnet 3.5 and Claude Haiku or between Llama 3.18b and Llama 3.70b. Let's look at the architecture. We have a user that's invoking the API hosted in API Gateway. User is passing the prompt which is getting extracted by the Lambda function, and then Lambda is invoking the Bedrock API, and Bedrock is using the model ARN for the prompt routing. Depending on the complexity of the prompt, Bedrock will either invoke the Haiku or Sonnet model to get the response back to the user. Prereq for this is familiarity with AWS Management Console, basic understanding of Python Boto 3, knowledge of AWS Lambda and API Gateway, and basic familiarity with generative AI and foundation model concepts. Let's get started. We're going to look at an intro to Amazon Bedrock and intro to Amazon Bedrock intelligent prompt routing feature. We're going to look at quickly the how to use Playground for this prompt routing, and then I'm going to deep dive in the AWS SAM template and the Lambda function. We'll build the function locally using AWS SAM framework. We'll invoke it using AWS SAM and then we'll deploy it. Once deployed, I will use Postman to validate the GenAI model response using a prompt. So let's look at the intro to Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock is a fully managed service that provides access to a variety of foundation models, including Anthropic Cloud, AI21 Jurassic 2, Stability AI, Amazon Titan, and others. As a serverless offering from Amazon, Bedrock enables seamless integration with popular foundation models. It also allows you to privately customize these models with your own data using AWS tools, eliminating the need to manage any infrastructure. Additionally, Bedrock supports the import of custom models. Let's look at how the view looks like. With Bedrock, you have choice of many foundation models. This is just one view, but this family of supported foundation model keep growing. But here we have AI21 Labs, the Amazon, Anthropic, Cohere, Meta, Mistral, Stability AI. I will be using Anthropic family of model for this workshop. Before model can be used, you need to request the access to the model. For Amazon model, typically it takes few minutes to get access. For some other models like Anthropic, it may take from few minutes to few hours to get the access. Once you have the access, then Amazon Bedrock provides a playground where you can pass the prompt and validate the response. Few key terms to understand when you are using a GenAI based solution. Temperature is a parameter, it's a value of 0 indicate less random generation and a value of 1 means more random generation. Top P, if value is less than 1, it will have less probable set of tokens. Max token count, this indicates max number of tokens to generate. Responses are not guaranteed to fill up the maximum desired length. Tokens are a factor in the overall cost, hence it's worthwhile to pay attention to max token you want to use. At AWS reInvent 2024, AWS introduced this exciting new feature, intelligent prompt routing. Now this Bedrock feature automatically select the model from a model family. So instead of manually choosing the specific model like Anthropic Haiku or Anthropic Sonnet, you simply provide a model family ARN. Bedrock then analyze your prompt and route it to the most appropriate model. For instance, with the Anthropic model family ARN, Bedrock automatically direct simple query to Anthropic Haiku for fast, efficient response, and then more complex request to Anthropic Sonnet for detailed, comprehensive answers. Let's look at how you can use the playground to try out this prompt routing feature. So once I am in the management console and navigate to Amazon Bedrock service, I will see an option for a prompt router, and I can select Anthropic prompt router there and open it in the playground. Now I can pass a prompt. So here I am saying, hey, please suggest 3 places to visit in New York in the bullet point format. And I'm getting the response back in the playground. Now, if you notice here, the model selected here is Haiku, and the way I know it that in the playground, I can see which model is providing this response. If I use another prompt here where I say, hey, write a Python function. So this time, Bedrock playground is using the Anthropic Sonnet to provide this response, and it's providing the function, but the model selected is the Sonnet 3.5. So this is an example how you can use the playground, but here our goal is to use serverless application model and Lambda function Bedrock API. So let me show you the AWS SAM template. So here is the template.yaml. This is the way that you define like infrastructure as code approach. So this is AWS SAM requires a template.yaml. That's what this YAML is showing, the resources that need to be created. So key resources here are the API, the prompt router API, and then I have a prompt router function. So here in the API, I'm specifying the endpoint configuration type, which is regional, and then I have few other parameters. I have the stage name and so on. I have the API name. I also have like security aspect, which is that key required. That means that if you don't have a key, you will not be able to invoke the API. And then in the prompt router function, I'm providing the function name, and then I'm providing the handler and timeout, and then I'm also providing the runtime, which is Python 3.12. I have some environment variable defined where I'm providing the ARN for the prompt router. Now, if I'm not using the prompt routing feature, then this is where I will define the model ID. So I will have a model ID of a specific model. I'm not doing that because I'm using the prompt router, so I don't have to provide the ID of a specific model. Let's look at the Lambda function. So again, it's a not an entire Lambda function, but basically I'm focusing on the code where I'm extracting the prompt from the event, and once I have the prompt, then I'm passing it to my function, which is then invoking the Bedrock by using my prompt and then other inference config like temperature and the top P and max token count that I was showing in the earlier slide. So I'm using all that information to invoke the Bedrock, and Bedrock is using the prompt router ARN right here, and then it will internally pick the best model based on the complexity of the prompt. So I will build this function now using the SAM build command, and then once my build is successful, then I can invoke it locally by using the SAM local invoke, passing the function name, and I'm passing it test JSON, which is basically has my prompt, and then I'm getting my response back. So now I know that my function is working as designed, so I can deploy this function using the SAM deploy command, and then I will have some parameter information to provide like the stack name and region and so on. And once I provide all that, this will be deployed to the AWS cloud. Now, once it's deployed, it will basically create the entire stack, including the Lambda function and the API. And then I can use the endpoint of that API and pass the prompt and get the response. So here is an example where I'm using the API, and then I'm basically using Postman, which is an API validation tool. And I'm saying, hey, here is my prompt, and provide me the response. Now, if you notice here that I'm getting a 403 forbidden, and that's because I have not added the API key. It is a secure API. So if I don't provide the API key, then I'll get a 403 forbidden response. And that's what I'm getting here. So here in this example, once I add API key in the header, then I should get a response similar to below. So if you see, I'm saying, hey, please suggest 3 places to visit in New York. And this time is giving me that response. And it's also telling me that which model it's invoking. So I can see that it's invoking the Haiku model. Now, if I pass a more complex prompt, so I picked this prompt from a Cloud Prompt library. So if I'm passing it that, hey, let's say I have a time machine, and if I travel back to the year 1900 and while there I accidentally prevent the invention of the airplane by the Wright brothers, what should be the implication? So it's basically like doing some thinking. So it's a complex prompt rather. So it's using the Anthropic Sonnet model and providing the response. So again, if you see here, it's telling me the model ID it has used, and it's Anthropic Sonnet. Since I'm using the Lambda, it's integrated with CloudWatch and log group is created, so I can view the log by going to the CloudWatch log group. Once all done, ensure to delete all the resources created so that these resources do not incur charges, impacting overall cloud cost and budget. Now, since I created these resources using AWS SAM, which is a infrastructure as code approach, I can simply delete them by running a SAM delete command, and it will delete everything that was created, including Lambda function, API, and so on. And alternatively, I can delete these resources via AWS console. So in this workshop, I demonstrated Amazon Bedrock intelligent prompt routing using the Anthropic model family. Instead of specifying a fixed model, I leverage Bedrock intelligence to choose the best model dynamically based on the prompt complexity. For this solution, I used Python Boto3 to create an API integrated with Bedrock via a Lambda function. I hope you found this tutorial both helpful and informative. I'm constantly working on new content covering various AWS topics, so please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Cloud with Girish channel. Your support helps me continue creating valuable AWS tutorials and workshops. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Thank you.